Nebraska drops their first game of the season. We got lots to talk about getting ready for Purdue. Joining me, former Husker Jay Moore and Damon Benning, here on the set with me. So you like me, that's funny. Let's get into this game because it's a first loss, obvious. How do you bounce back from that mentally when you're thinking to yourself, we're the better team, but we lose the game?
Yeah, you got to go back and look at yourself in the mirror. And I think it's a preparation thing. Listen, this defense is good. There's a lot of talent on this team, but when you have a game against Northern Iowa where I thought I kind of overlooked it. Yeah, they're playing some guys. Maybe they weren't doing schematically. They were doing some different things or keeping it pretty basic. But you saw a lot of the similar things that you saw against Northern Iowa. You saw against Iowa. So that's a tendency, right? And that's a habit. So to me, it seems like multiple things, right? Colorado, you got obviously a huge win. A lot of energy was spent, but maybe your preparation is lacking. It lacked against Northern Iowa, and it carried over into Illinois because you still only allowed Northern Iowa to get 3 points. So sometimes you can overlook things and underestimate things. You can obviously underestimate Illinois and what they've done, but to me, they're not the way they played with vision. I think their eyes were not in the right spots. Tackling, that's preparation. Communication, that's part of preparation. Being physical, that's part of preparation, right? You have to do the things Monday through Friday to get to that goal on Saturday. And obviously, they did not get to that goal, so preparation. I mean, they got to look themselves in the mirror and like what they're doing Monday through Friday needs to be better.
Do you think it was more of a schematic thing or guys just not executing?
Well, I think it's a little of both, but if I had to pick one, I think it's a lack of execution, right? I mean, if I'm supposed to box, then I need to box for my inside backers. If I need to shorten their run, I need to shorten their run. I think the low-hanging fruit that everybody likes to talk about is, well, hey, they need to tackle better. Well, you're a lot better tacklers when you're in good position. That means that you're trusting your inside run fitter, you're trusting your outside run fitter, and you understand leverage. When you're chasing a little bit or you're not feeling comfortable with how you're fitting, sometimes it can affect how you tackle, right? So I'm not one of those guys that's hitting the panic mode that all of a sudden this team is going to be a poor tackling team, because I don't believe that to be the case. I think this is a team that when they simplify what they want to do and they play with more discipline, if there's something I'm probably discouraged about, listen, I've seen guys get crossed up on crossing routes and pick routes. I saw Goddard, against the Saints, and I saw 3 pros run into one another. Yep. But, in the same vein, I think Nebraska should talk better. Get your eyes out of the backfield. When you play that much man-to-man or you've got a buzz call or, if I'm GIF and I'm in overtime and I'm a free defender and if I'm a run-pass guy, the minute I read run, I'm going, right? And if I'm Singleton and I have to fit off of that, then I need to probably take a better angle. So I'm not up in arms over the tackling. I think when they're a little more dialed and they're playing a little more downhill, I think you'll see a better football team.
What about overtime? David mentioned overtime. This is 8 games in a row where Nebraska not just didn't score, but didn't get a first down, didn't gain a yard, lost a bunch of yards. Can you explain what's happening?
It's been going on for a decade, right?
Since 2015, yeah.
I mean, last time Nebraska got points was 2014, Bo Pelini's last game in Iowa.
Yep.
It's hard to put your finger on it. You spend so much energy. It's not like I've been in a ton of overtime games. I think I was involved in maybe 2 of them in my collegiate career, and we've won Iowa State and Kansas. But you spent so much energy through 4 quarters, and you get to that, and it's like, okay. It's situational, right? 25-yard line. But in the last decade, we've got some poor starts. We get the ball first, we throw an interception. So all the team has to do is get a field goal. You're on defense first, which you want. They score in 2 plays. And then you get the ball back on offense, in the first place a penalty. And then a sack. So it's just, you got to get, college football is such a momentum game. You have to have success early in overtime to grasp the momentum, because it can be such a short-lived scenario. Nebraska's just done a poor job of getting off to a good start in overtime for a long time.
Yeah, and in general, it's close games, obviously, and they've lost a lot of close games. A lot of those guys are still on the team. How do you teach somebody to win? I mean, if you don't do it, how do you teach somebody how to get to that point?
So I think there's a couple things, right? I think you do have to fall back to training and preparation. And that's where the focus has to be. When you're super outcome-based things like this creep back up into the frontal lobe. You've got to start relying on how it is that you got here. You got to enjoy the week, right? Embrace that part of it, because Friday nights or Saturdays are for making withdrawals. You made deposits all week.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how the flow of the game is going. You got to stay right there in that moment, right? The mind is a pretty powerful thing, and no matter what you believe, you're going to be right. So I think the more you dial in on the process, I'm not a big chicken or the egg guy when it comes to winning. I think winning habits lead to winning, and ultimately that'll come to fruition.
Yeah, there's a list of the overtime stats. We had them up, and each one was different, right? It wasn't all the same things. It was penalties, it was an interception, it was getting sacked early on. So it's a whole bunch of different things. But real quick,
Sometimes it's not getting a pass interference call.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, against Wisconsin. So Bo Pelini went through a stretch where he didn't win any close games. Then he had 3 years where he won almost every close game. Really, they didn't change anything. They just played better in those overtimes.
You just got to go make plays. I think the hard part about the football in general and just doing anything at a high level is your preparation. Is you have to be so OCD on your preparation, right? You everything you do, how you prepare, how you take care of your body. You got to be so keyed in. But then it has to almost be opposite of that when you go out in the field in the game. I mean, you have to rely on your preparation. You have to let it go.
100%.
Yeah.
You have to. That's hard to do, and you can't let bad plays beat you multiple times. And I think this is what you get in these certain situations, and they're like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But if you prepared the right way, if you did things the right way during Monday through Friday, let's go let it hang out, man. Let's let it go. And if whatever happens, happens. But you know I did everything in my power to do the right thing. But that's so hard when you're dealing with ultra competitive, ultra OCD guys who want to do it right. They have a hard time of forgetting the negative stuff. But in the moment, you got to let it go and really not pay attention to the scoreboard, not pay attention to these other things, just go play ball.
You mentioned discipline in terms of your keys, but also 60 yards of penalties on personal fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, just little mistakes.
Yeah, you just can't have it, whether it's hands to the face or
Punching a
you know
ball.
you're punching at a ball, or you know even D. Singleton was. I'm not sure what he was raking at, but he caught the face mask, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's kind of after the play. It's down away from you. That's not poor defense. That's just lack of discipline.
Yeah.
So I think it's just real low-hanging fruit to hear, well, you know, we were supposed to be this and we were supposed to be that. I mean, it's been an exhausting week. I can't wait for them to just get ready to go play at West Lafayette. Because if we're being honest, right, we were going to hang our hat on defense and we were just going to get good enough quarterback play. Well, if you're getting great quarterback play, so I hear, and your defense is just okay,
Right.
well, you wouldn't sign up for that?
That should be enough.
It should be enough.
Yep.